All right, hello there, YouTube. Welcome back to my never-ending cough. Bruised here, and as I literally just said, apologies if I cough. I'm still getting over this, and it's pissing me off. But I have this character, and I really wanted to make a video about it, and this cough just will not leave me alone. So I have no choice. We're doing it. We're sending it. Anyway, this is a Reave of Refraction Juggernaut, as you can see here, visually whelming build, level 96 Juggernaut here. Visually whelming because, let me tell you, this is what Reave looks like. Did you see it? You see those sweet little waves right there? That's all it is. That's all that Reave is. So it's a very visually whelming skill overall. But it's been a lot of fun, and I've truthfully had a really good time with this. I will give a couple of very quick notes here before we actually start doing. I'm gonna do a map and a Maven fight just for the heck of it. But as I have some very quick notes here, so. If you want to just take a look at the POB will be down below in the description. It'll be there. I'll try to have some notes. Also, and this kind of goes hand in hand with it, as you can see here, we have permanent diamond shrine here. We are always critting. We're using a Screams of the Desiccated belt. It's late enough in the league where I just wanted to have some fun and spend a bunch of money on a belt, or spend a bunch of money and use the new and fun stuff. So this is the new and fun thing that I have bought and decided to spend a bunch of my currency on. I will have notes in the tree, but also I will have a version in that POB that does not have this belt equipped. It'll be a slightly different skill tree. It'll be a slightly different setup overall. Like, you wouldn't be using Marilyn's Fallacy with this without this belt realistically. So there will be a version in this POB that does not have this belt equipped, just for future looking purposes realistically, and it probably won't have the third ring slot in there as well, but maybe it still will, because I think reasonably not using Flask has actually been totally fine, truthfully. So anyway, that'll be down below if you want to take a look, and like I said, I'll have two different versions of the POB there in case you're not able to get the Screams of the Desiccated, or in a future league if the Screams of the Desiccated becomes really hard to get, or maybe they change it or something like that, then there'll be a different version there. I still think this build will be very solid, even without Screams of the Desiccated. With that though, we'll just roll right into a map. So this character has done pretty much everything. I think the only thing I really haven't tried on this character is Ubers. That's been more or less it. I really haven't tried Ubers because I don't care to do Ubers that often, but other than that, that's really been it. So we have also got a few gems leveling in the background, all that kind of usual stuff. And I know it's Mesa. I could just boss rush this, but I want to at least kill some things just to kind of show like how the build plays. But it's, as you can see, we're whirling blades around. We just whirling blades. We kill stuff very quickly. If you're somebody who's extremely rich, I had quite a bit of currency, but I was not this rich. If you are extremely rich though, or get extremely lucky, you could also absolutely run what we have here now, where we just picked up a massive shrine. Massive plus diamond with this build would go really crazy, because I would just make your Reaves become that much larger, and it would just be much more, would be even more comfortable overall, honestly. So if you are that rich, well then there you go. That's another alternative. But I'll be honest, if you're that rich, you probably already know that. So there's not really any kind of losing scenario with that. And we're gonna skip that, but I'm gonna do this encounter. Actually, you know what? If Rashta has a wish for lust, we're doing it. But that is kind of about it. Nope. Oh, she got frogs. Let's go. All right. Please do. Oh, an astrolabe. There's someone else over there? No. Okay. And that's just a regular map, you know. Mapping realistically quite easy. We have Trinity, all that kind of good stuff going. We're pumping pretty well. And now we'll just do a quick Maven fight here, or at least hopefully quick, unless I'm very boosted when it comes to the memory game phase, which is entirely possible.
The prize base comes to join
My collection. Get some pretty hefty shocks off too, honestly. Thought I should add for Brain didn't even get to launch his balls. Nice. We are stance dancing, as you might be able to tell down here as well. That's just something that we're just doing on the side. It gives us onslaught every time. As long as we have changed stances recently, we gain onslaught. So death will not be an escape. Get back down here. Alright, and there she goes. I'm pretty sure this character can do Ubers, by the way. I don't know quite how comfortably. I imagine decently well. Like, I think some of the relatively easier Ubers shouldn't be too much of an issue for this character. Like, I can't imagine Uber, like if you're good at dodging in an Uber Shaper or Uber Elder, or like Cortex should also be a very easy one. Then reasonably we should be totally fine. Oh, that's okay. And that was invert the rules popping off right there. But it should be able to do those Ubers all reasonably quite well. I just don't really care. And like, unless I'm gonna do 40 out of 40, I don't generally care to do Ubers. At least she immediately did it this time. Where are we going? Right, up, left, right, up, left. We're doing some laps. I immediately ran into her laser. Please move. Please move out of the middle. Thank you. Alright, and there she goes. Nice. Inside of her pulling me in the middle there. Hey, an overcome. And hey, wouldn't you know it? Invert the rules. It is wild to me how common this rule is. Yeah, another invert the rules. What did this roll? Not great. Not great. We'll just rock her up. Man, nothing happened. Frog. Disenchant. Okay. So with that is Reave of Juggernaut showcased right there. Reave of Juggernaut, Reave of Refraction. That's what we do. So we'll go over. Pardon me. Go over the gear now. Go over the gear, and I'm gonna go over the gems at the same time that I have into all of our slots here. We'll just go through all of these. So first up, of course, we have a fancy foil here and not a jeweled foil, and the reason for that being that I just did not have. As you can see, we have 186 dex. If you're able to really fit in some more dexterity and really squeeze in some more, then I could reasonably see you running a jeweled foil instead. But ultimately, a fancy foil is still completely fine. But I could see if you wanted to run a jeweled foil, if you managed to get the 212 dexterity that you need for a jeweled foil, you could absolutely go that route. We had a fancy foil here that's got Assassin's Mark, Life Tap, and Mark on Hit. Fairly standard stuff that is in there. And then I just bought this one that was fractured with the T1 Cold. I Essence Slammed on the lightning damage, and then actually just got really lucky on the rest of this. I even Exalt Slammed that Global Crit Multi, so a decent one overall. Like I said, if you're using the belt here, if you're using Screams of the Desiccated, then we just want as much Crit Multi as possible. If you're not using it, then you'd actually be looking for more increased critical chance overall. You'd want your weapon to have a little bit more increased crit on top of the crit multi. So you'd probably want to dodge the accuracy rating here. That's fine for Juggernaut, but you'd want to dodge the accuracy rating most likely and just get flat crit chance, which then will just further increase that if you don't have the belt. But otherwise, like I said, I think it's just a case of buy one that's fractured. I think the flat add fire damage tier 1 is pretty cheap. I think this one wasn't that expensive too, if memory serves. I could be wrong about that, but just buy yourself one that is relatively cheap with a good fracture on it, and then just essence spam until you get something good. And that was all that I did with that. Fairly standard thing over here. Our other weapon that we're rocking is the Savior. I will also, very quickly, another side note here about the build. If you want to do this if you want to be even thicker when you run this character, you 100% can, and you would instead just take, instead of dual wielding, you'd probably just rock a shield, honestly. Just rock your foil and a shield and be on your way, and you'll probably be even thicker. But I personally really love the Savior. This is like one of my all-time favorite weapons. It's just so fun, and it's also really kind of comfortable. You know, there's a lot of times where you could maybe just be focusing on one thing, and your reflections are off on the side dealing with something else entirely for you, which is very nice. Also, I mean, it's not like this has crit multi on it, so ultimately, are there other damage options out there that are potentially better? Yeah, probably, but I really like the Savior, so I'm running the Savior. It's a lot of fun, and I actually managed to complete a Sanctum very comfortably, kind of thanks to the Savior, because you could set up your reflections, and then they can just go and deal with most of the unique and rare enemies that were there, and you didn't really have to think about it. So Savior overall, ton of fun, but also, like I said, there's other options. If you want to be thicker, use a shield. If you want to be, and then just pivot any of the dual wielding stuff into block and shield stuff instead. And then if you want just more, potentially more just raw damage, get yourself another fancy foil probably, and just go that route. But, by the way, any array of Leap Slam, faster attacks, and Whirling Blades. Whirling Blades is what I use most of the time. I like Whirling Blades better. But occasionally, if like our Frostplank is on cooldown and we still have to jump up onto a ledge, well then having Leap Slam is just kind of a nice little added bonus. The only thing that's kind of annoying with the Savior and this belt in particular is it triggers the reflections based on your crit, whatever attack crit. So sometimes you'll have ones that are Leap Slamming, and sometimes you'll have reflections that are Whirling Blade. Most commonly you'll have reflections that are Whirling Blading everywhere. So it can be kind of annoying for that, but whenever you're just going into like a big damage phase, odds are pretty good you're not really moving immediately, so you can set up the big Reave guys instead. So just a note about this. Helmet-wise, fairly standard. Increased stat damage, reduced mana cost of attacks. You could also get the mana res efficiency here as well. We have a more duration with a Molten Shell and a cast and damage taken. Fairly usual. Fill resistances. I have accuracy crafted on this thing just for the sake of that's more attack speed for us if we get that, but otherwise just fill resistances, get armor, get life. Fairly usual stuff as far as helmets go. Like I said, we're running a Marylene's Fallacy because this gives us 200, look at that, 283 global crit multi. So just buy yourself a decent one of these, and then just use some, I believe it's Unstable Catalyst. Yep, Unstable Catalyst on these. And I have Anointed Forces of Nature just to penetrate more enemy resistances. But if you were to not do the crit version, then you would instead allocate something like Dismembering up here, or Disemboweling, sorry, or something along those lines instead. But yeah, there you go. That's just classic Marylene's, very good, gives us Colleague Strike. We're guaranteed to crit, so we completely ignore that part of it anyway. It's just a very solid amulet overall for us. We'll go chest piece. Chest piece wise, this is probably my weakest thing outside of like one of my rings. This is probably the weakest thing that I have, but it filled the resistances and it had some amount of armor on it. Actually, do I have enough strength at this point? I don't. I'm off by 5 strength, I believe. If you are able to get slightly more strength, fill it somewhere else, then I would 100% instead be using a royal plate, and I would just, but regardless, I have been meaning to recraft this thing forever. I've just been really lazy. But just get yourself just a really thick chest piece as much as you can. Get the crit multi for attack damage, and I think you could also get the determination increased aura effect here if you want, or any number of other good implicits with Eater of Worlds there. So that's all fine and dandy, but we have it sitting in there. And then this is where we have our Reave of Refraction. So I coined this one, and this has level 1 Trinity. Level 1 Trinity is actually a really good option. The only other, I think, like, blue support gem that you'd be looking for is increased critical damage. Obviously, be really good. If you're doing, if you don't have the belt, you'd be looking for critical strikes, perhaps, or just, again, level 1 Trinity is completely fine. Trinity level 1 by itself is still a very good gem. And another couple good options you could get if you went the red gem route. Excommunicate is a cozy gem and is also pretty good. Pulverize would be nice. Melee, I don't know about melee. I don't think melee fizz would be much. But there's other decent gems that you could absolutely get. That would be quite nice. Inspiration would be a pretty decent one. Like I said, Excommunicate is quite good. There's probably some other things. Pulverize, like I mentioned. Volatility would potentially be okay. So there's plenty of good options whether you go red or blue, but those are the two that I recommend, either red or blue. Trinity is quite good though, so that's what I'm rocking. Close combat support, because we are close in their face. Level 21, this is just a added lightning damage support. Flat added damage, always good. And we have a greater multi-strike. This was, I think, 7 divines. Obviously, rock a regular multi-strike until you're able to get your hands on this. Obviously, also, ideally have this at level 3. And same with invert the rules support here. Ideally have this at level 3. And that just gives us even more chance to treat monster resistances as inverted. That's also why we're using Forces of Nature and why this tincture here is also penetrate elemental resistances, so that when we do flip their resistances, we get a really big punch into their resistances on top of whatever else that we inverted it to. So, and then per usual, elemental damage with attack support. So, that's all we got there. Ring-wise, like I said, this ring right here is really just here for resistances and the dexterity. It's kind of, that's kind of it, honestly. I would 100% try to look for something better. Maybe get like a fractured dexterity ring and then just craft it till you get some good resistances that fill whatever you need and just some flat added damage and some life. You could 100% do better than this. Global crit multi craft is all that I did, which is essence of this guy, Scorn. Yeah, I just crafted essence of Scorn until it hits something halfway decent. This is what we're left with, so decent amethyst ring here. That's probably what I would do as well, is just craft crit multi, because more crit multi, more gooder. Same with this synaptic ring over here. It's not perfect, but this is also just, this wasn't even this is just kind of happenstance that I just rolled a synaptic ring. This was the only good base that I had sitting around. So synaptic ring is also fine though. I mean, +2 max gets us to 80% at least on our lightning res, which is quite nice. So not a bad little ring to be running right there as well. Gauntlets over here. These were another thing that I kind of wanted to recraft as well, but just attack speed, life, resistances, more armor, whatever else you're able to get. This just has accuracy and increased damage for Frenzy Charge, because we have Frenzy Ralakeshes on, so that does still apply to us. I think there are some other implicits that you can look for that are also good. I just called it good with that, because I just wasn't hitting anything outside of these. And then we just have Determination, Herald of Ash, Precision, and Enlighten in here. That is all that we're running. Aura-wise, from an aura perspective, outside of course, Blood and Sand, which is over here. So that is what we're rocking, but you can make these thicker for sure, make them bigger, make them better. But these, once again, as long as they fill your resistances and they have some other good benefit to you, or power to you, probably just get a fractured base and craft on that. Ralakeshes, like I said, for the Frenzy Charges, which is very cheap. I think the expensive one is Power Charges? Maybe Endurance Charges? I don't know. I think it's Power Charges, though. But Ralakesh's Frenzy Charges, very cheap. And then we have Crushing Fist. I'm just kind of using Crushing Fist as a means to tell when I have blocked. But it's also, like, it's decent. It's pretty good. If you haven't built into it, it's slightly less good. But it's certainly not bad. And it's just fun to occasionally pull out the Giant Fist and smash them with it. So as we were running there, I have an enhanced support, mostly for Blood and Sand and for Frostblink. It just lets us travel a little bit further, but mostly for the Blood and Sand, honestly, so that we can actually be stancing a little bit faster as we're running around. The cooldown recovery rate goes up. So that's all we're rocking there. And then, like I said, Screams of the Desiccated. If you aren't running Screams of the Desiccated, you could run a Cord Belt, you could run a Stygian Vice, anything pretty standard outside of that. Are you Giga Rich and you have a Mage Blood? Sure, man, slap that on instead. Plenty of other options to really work with and really just use. So Screams of Desiccated is just what I'm using, because like I said, it's the fun thing for the league, so I wanted to rock that. And then Flasks, of course. Try to get yourself something that recovers instantly, because Life Flasks do turn off your Diamond Shrine, and that will impact you. So try to get yourself especially a bubbling flask. If you're able to get a bubbling one, that's even better. But just one that applies instantly and then removes bleeding or something, ideally. And then, of course, there's a prismatic tincture. This one isn't even max tier, so get yourself one that's even better tiered than this. But otherwise, that is all that we're running t-shirt-wise. So that is gear. That is gear situated, and we'll go into some good old-fashioned tree happening next. So over here, I'll probably try to speed this along a little bit because I feel like I've been yapping a good bit, but also I think it's just been because of the boss kill and everything. So of course we're taking the +1 ring slot over here, and we already don't use utility flask for the sake of Screams of the Desiccated, so that completely doesn't matter. This doesn't matter whatsoever. And the unaffected by poison is actually extremely nice. It is great to not have to worry about poison at all. So that's actually an extremely good just added benefit to us, truthfully. And then we just get the extra ring slot here. So this is from Audience with the King, King in the Miss guy. But otherwise, as far as our actual setup here, we have Undeniable. That's our accuracy, attack speed, everything like that. Unstoppable here. Also another great just comfort node. It really makes things better for us. Unflinching here gives us our endurance charges. And then I have Unrelenting here for the elemental and phys damage reduction per endurance charge. It's very comfy. I don't actually know. I have this from a Forbidden Flesh and Flame, which are right here. This was really cheap to buy. I actually don't know if Unbreakable, Untiring, or Unrelenting is better, truthfully. And from what I looked up, Unbreakable and Unrelenting are both quite cheap to buy, apparently, from Forbidden Flesh and Flame standpoints. So I really don't know, honestly. Whatever one happens to be better for you is probably just what I would go with, all in all. But you can't go wrong with more phys damage reduction and elemental damage reduction from this. But I guess if you hit the 90% cap on phys damage reduction without this, then you probably would want to go Unbreakable. So that's up to you. And ultimately just whatever you're able to get your hands on. And then otherwise, fairly standard on the tree. We went Heart of the Warrior early and Versatility early as well. And grabbed the Forbidden Flesh and Flame, like I said, but we did that pretty late because realistically it's just more defense. We don't really need that while we're leveling. Early on went down here for Dismembering, but obviously go up the melee crit side before you have the belt. You can eventually go over here for Strong Arm. I certainly did, just for the... It's more damage, it's some more strength as well. And I already happen to be here for Born to Fight, because that's another pretty good node. Coming over here for Master of the Arena, but also mostly Hour of the Gladiator and Dervish. The chance to block stuff is actually stuff that I've started taking alongside the route that we're taking. Also, if you want to know why I'm getting Onslaught, that is over here. That is Dance of Blades Onslaught if you've changed stance recently, and we change stances a lot. And then in here, we also have the Monsters Can't Block Your Attacks. That's just a really good quality of life thing to have. And then in here, we have a Lethal Pride. Oh, excuse me. Lethal Pride in here, and this mostly is here for the melee crit multi and chance to deal double damage. So this is a good little node for us. It hits quite a few things. Ooh, sorry. It hits quite a few things in here. So chance to deal double damage, melee crit, Fizz is extra fire, Thunderation doesn't matter. More melee crit over here, chance to deal double damage there, attack damage leeches life there. So this is a really good wheel for us. And Lethal Pride is just a very good slot in for there. Yeah, I mean, this is probably the one that you're relatively looking for, but I'm sure there's other options out there. Let me not fake like this is the best one or something. I'm sure there are other options out there. There always are when it comes to timeless jewels. There's always going to be different options, so take a look there. Otherwise, you're going to block Gritty Crit Multi over here on Blade of Cunning and all that kind of good jazz here. If you are, once again, if you're not using the belt, you would also take the increased crit chance with swords, -20 crit multi. Absolutely willing to miss out on that for that. And then cluster jewel wise here, I am using a attack damage while dual wielding. We're using Calamitous, Feel the Fight, and Martial Prowess. Martial Prowess, accuracy, damage, attack speed, all good. Feel the Fight, leeches mana, very important for us, honestly. And then Calamitous, which is just mostly for the elemental damage with attack skills and increased damage, increased effect of non-damaging ailments is something I really wanted. Actually, why this medium jewel here is also a effect of non-damaging ailments. We have Inspired Oppression and Astonishing Affliction, both for those exact reasons. So that way we can be applying pretty consistently high-tier shocks to our enemies. That's kind of really what I wanted to. And the chills ain't bad either, for sure. So that's what we have here. They are, I think, fairly consistently, we're hitting like 25% shock at the very least, which is quite nice. You could even probably run a second one over here. I just am running the damage while affected by a herald because I figured that was relatively good damage as well. But this ultimately is just 25% elemental damage, and this one is also 25% elemental damage when you add it up. So entirely possible it's just better to run a second effective non-damaging ailments. Again, not using the belt, use medium crit jewels instead. And then we have a small cluster jewel up here for max life, because we do not get a ton of max life on the tree itself. So over here we have Fettle, and then just some other generically good nodes there. The only other thing I will say, towards the end here with my last couple of levels, I kind of just took some other things. So 1% chance to block spell damage for 5 for that, which is nice. 15% chance to block if we haven't blocked recently, so that means our block chance is, I think, 70% if we haven't blocked recently. Yeah, 70% if we haven't blocked, which is pretty nice. Again, if you had more strength, enough to either wield a royal plate, or if you just want to use some strength, these are really expensive, so that's why I haven't bothered to tack this on. But if you get some of these Valakos shield breakers, 1% chance to block attack damage ones, and you stuck those on some of your strength nodes, I wouldn't blame you at all, and I think that'd be another solid way to go. But they are extremely expensive. Let me not say anything about that. In fact, let's take a look really quick before I really talk about it. So, Valakos shield bearer, 788. What is that in divines? About 3 divines for one of those. So, just saying. But anyway, I think that's more or less it. Oh, and then I have some increased damage here on the Reservation Mastery and increased damage on the Charge Mastery, but we can still be ignited. So actually, if you are concerned about getting ignited, I would 100% recommend take the cannot be ignited while at max endurance charges. We're pretty much always at max endurance charges, and just being ignite immune is actually really good. Ignites have 100% killed me on this character. Kind of one of the few things that have, if something has just like a really big ignite, that it pops off on me, that is 100% something that has killed me a couple of times in this character. So that is very reasonable to take instead of just a little bit of increased damage. So that's all up to you. And then of course Rage Mastery, we want Intimidate over here as well. That is how we're actually getting our Intimidate, is just straight up from the Mastery, so we don't need to roll it on our gloves. Yeah, I think that's everything I have with this character. It's been a ton of fun. I have thoroughly enjoyed my time playing this character. Like I said, I'll have everything down below. I'll try to have some notes in there. I will have some notes in there. I'm not gonna try. I will have some notes in there. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. I'm happy to at least try to answer stuff. I'm sure this isn't ultimately the craziest build out there, not by a long shot, but it's fun, and that's kind of it. I did have, this is kind of just outro yapping now. I think I have exactly one more character I'm planning to make. I'm not really planning to push 40 out of 40, but I think I have one more character up my sleeve that I have spent a ton of money on. I think I ended this league with right around 80-ish divines. Actually, no, I think I had 90 divines, which was a lot. And I still have a ton of just like other random currencies laying around that I could break down if I want to. But I'm gonna make one more build, I think, and I have something really dumb in mind. And it will be utilizing this belt again. I debated on trying to use something else, but ultimately I kind of went, you know what, we're gonna have fun with it one more time, and I'm gonna do something really stupid with it. And if you'd like to take a look, this is what we're gonna be doing. So we're gonna be using Screams of the Desiccated. We're using Winds of Fate, and you might be going, damn, that's a really good combo. How can you lose with that? Well, boy oh boy, let me tell you what. You know how I said if you build in the Crushing Fist, it'll do more? We're going to build in the Crushing Fist, and this is just going to be a Winds of Fate guaranteed crit Crushing Fist meme build. It's probably not going to work out super well. It's probably going to be just a total crapshoot, but I kind of decided that I wanted to do that, and so that's what the next character is going to be. I don't know if there will even be a video up about that character, but it's a meme. I wanted to spend a ton of currency just to do it. I think Winds of Fate by itself was like close to 50 divines because of this combo with Screams of the Desiccated. So It's expensive, but we're gonna have a little bit of fun, because why not, man? Why not? It's that time of league. So anyway, YouTube, hope you have been enjoying this league. I have had a total blast playing Mirage. This has been one of my all-time favorite leagues, like no question, not even close. This league has been so much fun. I've had such a blast playing, and I can't wait to see what comes next for Path of Exile 2 and for Path 1. But I'm gonna keep playing in the meantime. I got that meme character, like I said, set up, and we'll see where that takes us. So until I see you next time, YouTube, stay sane out there, Exiles.